Welcome back. This is part 2 of the home brew that we're doing. 14 days ago we started brewing the IPA Cooper's kit, and it's been, well, it fermented for 9 days and then we left it in, so it's been 2 weeks in the fermentation bucket, and now it's time to do the bottling. So I've got all the bottles ready over here. I've sanitised them in Star San. They're all clean, some I've reused, some are new. I've got the caps over here in Star San, just sanitising, ready for when we're capping. What I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the brew from the fermentation vessel into the plastic carboy, and that way I can add me priming sugar to all of the brew, give it a swirl round, trying not to get air into it, and then bottle it. And what the priming sugar does is the yeast that's left in the brew, it starts to feed that again, and the yeast sinks. There's more sugar here, I better start turning this into alcohol. And when it does that, because you've got a cap on the bottle, the gases can't escape through an airlock, and they get reabsorbed into the beer, and that's where you get your fizz from. That's where you get your CO2 from. So let's crack the beer open for the very first time and see if it is actually drinkable. Oh, also, I've got this handy storage tray, and I can get everything in it. This is Star San, so I've got me what's that? Funnel, pipette, all my siphoning tubes. I've got the actual cap here, top capper, hydrometer, and there should be in here somewhere.
Rub it up.
Just a tube, test tube. So we're going to take some sample of the beer and do a hydrometer reading. So that's it. Let's get to opening the beer. I'm going to take the airlock out first. Try not to get what's in the airlock everywhere. That's it. Holy shit, man. That smells like beer. I'm going to tip that out of there. Put it in there. And let's crack it open for the first time. Oh.
Oh, that smells nice.
You smell that, Paul? That's beer. And we're going to now transfer this into this. So I'm just going to give this an empty. Right then, let's get to siphoning. This is the siphon tube. You put this end in your fermentation bucket, you give it a few pumps and it starts siphoning it out through this hose. So the carboy's been sanitised, this has been lined in sanitizer, so put the end in your carboy and put the other end in your brew. Don't want to suck any of the crap off the bottom, so measure out where it is with your finger and then put it in like that, and just start pumping. So all we have to do now is just wait for the siphon to do its work. What we've done is, because I forgot, started the siphon going and I hadn't taken a sample, so we just stopped recording and Paul helped me pull a sample, which is in the which is in the sample tube there. And what we'll do is we'll do a hydrometer reading.
Not piston there,
yeah. Basically, when I first did the hydrometer reading, I didn't have that tube to test it properly, and the beer was really foamy. It was late at night, and so I did the hydrometer test in the bucket. So I didn't actually get a proper reading, but on my hydrometer it's labelled when the beer is ready to start and when it's ready to bottle. So you don't have to know precisely, because it will tell you, you know, if it's within that gap, then you know you're alright to start your beer, and then you're alright to bottle it. So all I'm going to be doing is testing to see if it's in the region where it's alright to bottle it. But like I say, it's been in there for 14 days, so it'll have done fermenting for sure, and it's just been aging a little bit in the fermentation bucket. Any longer than 14 days in here, and the trud, which is lying on the bottom, starts to give an off taste to the beer. Some people, after the fermentation has took place, like to take it from here and put it in the carboy and leave it a couple of weeks in there, then add the sugar and then bottle it. But I was told that brewing yeast now is that advanced that the trud really doesn't have any ill effect on the beer until after the 14 days. So it's exactly 14 days tonight when we're recording it, so hopefully it's all good. But the beer smells like beer, doesn't smell sour. We'll obviously taste this sample to see if it is okay, and although it will taste like beer, it won't taste anything like the finished product, because it hasn't aged in the bottles. There'll be no fizz and it won't be cold, but at least you'll get a rough idea of what it's going to be. Right, we've done siphoning the beer from the fermentation bucket into the carboy. I've just put the bung on top so that no air or anything nasty can get inside it till we're ready to put the sugar in. I'll just show you inside the fermentation bucket. There is a bit of beer left in there, but it was starting to drag all the trud that was left on the bottom. That's your dead yeast. It's a sign of fermentation. You also get this ring at the top of your beer, and the dead yeast, after it's done fermenting, is in the bottom of your fermentation bucket. I don't want to risk dragging any more trud into it, or any of the, you know, mess. So I've left a bit in, and that's it. I'll just chuck it out, give it a good clean, and it'll be ready for the next batch. The sugar that I'll be putting in it, it's priming sugar, and it's dextrose. There's 150 grams in there. Now, if you've seen my other videos, cocked up with the amount of water I put in to make the beer, I put in 20 litres, and it should have been topped up to 23 litres. So I had to talk to some people online, and they said, don't worry about it. All you've done is you've increased the alcoholic contents. You've tweaked the brew. So I probably won't be filling all 40 bottles. And I won't need 150 grams of the dextrose. I will only need 100 grams. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to measure it out into a measuring cup, and then add it to the beer. Right, it's time to add the priming sugar. Like I said before, I don't need 150 grams. There's 150 grams there. So just divide that into 3. I need to be leaving about that much left in the packet. I'm not going to measure it out. It's only really adding the fizz. So there might be a little less fizz, a little more fizz than what I want. Not too fussed about it. So straight into here with it. Chuck a bit on top. And like I said before, what this is doing is the remaining yeast that's in the beer will notice that more sugar's gone into the brew, and we'll try and transform this sugar into alcohol, and in doing so it will produce the CO2, which normally gets released through the airlock. But because the bottle will have a cap on it, the CO2 will get reabsorbed back into the beer and give you the fizz.
Just looks like a massive pint of beer with head on, doesn't it?
Well, it smells like beer. It smells lovely. So that's about 150 grams gone into here. Just going to put the lid back on it. just give it a bit of a swill round. Like I say, what that's going to do is going to feed the yeast, start making CO2, which is going to be captured in the bottle. So while that's mixing a bit, I'm going to get the bottles down on the floor, ready to be filled. Now, because the siphon hasn't got a tap on it that I can turn the beer on and off with, I'm going to have to spill a little bit. I know, for a total slow. But at a later date, I'll spend the money and I'll get a proper bottling tool which has a little valve on the bottom. So when you push down on it, it releases it. When you stop it, it stops. Right. While the beer is absorbing the sugar, I've got my bottles ready to take the beer. I'm just going to do a hydrometer test just to make sure that the beer is ready to bottle. If it's not, tough tit, we're going to bottle it anyway. But basically what I was saying before, it's coloured in sections like this. So the red, when I did it, was start beer. Hopefully it should be up here that says bottle. So just sanitise this again. My hands have been sanitised, but just to be safe. Although it doesn't matter because we're going to be drinking this. So you put your hydrometer in like that, and you twist it, and it lets all the air drop off it, the bubbles that are on it. And we are there, sitting at bottle, and it's as easy as that. Now the next time I do it, I'll be able to take a proper reading of the next brew, and what you do is you take your first reading, which will be 1.12, whatever it will be, and then you write that down. Then when it's done fermenting, you write the next number down. There's a formula, you divide the numbers, and that gives you your alcoholic content. But this should be about 5%, it says on the packet. Because I've added less water, it might be a little bit higher, but I'm not too fussed about knowing the alcoholic content. As long as after I've had a couple of glasses I can feel it, then I know it's fine. So, without further ado, let's poison ourselves.
Oh Jesus!
Ah, Jiminy Cricket.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. So this is the first taste of my very first beer that I've brewed. Smells like beer. Smells alcoholic, obviously. Smells malty, hoppy.
Good legs.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers. Not bad.
It tastes like beer. And obviously it needs time to age. It needs a fizz, it needs to be cold. But straight like this.
Got the bitterness on it.
Yeah. It's very bitter. I mean, these flavours will mellow out. I'm going to bottle it and leave it at least 2 weeks before I open one. But the longer they're left, the better they are. The taste matures, the flavours mellow, infuse, and that's where you get your
I'd say it's similar to Black Sheep.
I mean, it's very bitter on your tongue at the minute. It's quite sharp, isn't it? But it tastes like beer.
Yeah, the first taste is almost watery, but then you get this bitterness kick in, don't you? In the roof of your mouth.
So, let's get to bottling. A few pumps. And that's it, it's going into the bottles now. So I need to watch and make sure. Oh shit.
Can't you clamp the end when you go to the next one?
Oh.
Squeeze the end out.
just going to have to spill it.
No.
Right, so we're nearly there. We've got the beer into the bottles. I'll just show you a clear one. There's nothing nasty in there floating about. It's nice and clear. It smells of beer, doesn't smell off, doesn't smell sour. So that's it, we're ready for the caps. You put the cap on the magnet there, that holds it in place. You put it on your beer glass like that, bottle, sorry. Clamp down, and that's it, it's bottled. And that's it, you just repeat the process. The caps are sat in sanitizer, just in case. But that's it, put the cap on, and that's it. I'm going to move these out of the way as I do them. I'm going to finish up capping all these, and that's it, but I'll not bore you with me doing the lot. So that's it, thanks for watching. We'll have a bit of a video at the end when they're all capped up. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Right, that's it. All the caps are on the bottles. They've all been inverted a little bit just to make sure the sugar's mixed up in them. And that's it. So you've seen what it is, what it takes to brew a home brew. This is my first home brew, and you've seen it from start to finish with me. That's it now. I'm going to leave these in a cool place. Recipe asks for them to be kept for the first week at about 18 degrees, which is fine because where I kept the beer, it's been about 18 degrees anyway. So I'm going to leave them for at least 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks I'll put a couple in the fridge and I'll do a tasting. But obviously the longer you keep them, the better they'll get. Like I said, the flavours will mature, they'll mingle, you know, they'll complement each other, and you won't get that extreme bitterness that you get straight from the fermentation bucket. But this is the beer out of one of the bottles that we couldn't fill. A little bit cloudy because of the sugar, obviously. It smells like beer. And it tastes like beer. That's it, we made beer. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel where you can see the other videos. I'll keep you updated on the other brew that I'll be making up shortly. I wanted to make one sort of for Christmas, so I'm looking for a kit where I can add spices to and do a bit more than what I have done with this kit. So that's it again, thanks for watching and cheers. See you later guys.